Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors, America's only daily outdoor TV show. Your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Winston Chester. Glad to hear this morning. Got a great show lined up. But first, as always, our weather brought to us by Haney Technical Center at the corner of Baldwin and Highway 77. High today, 80. Low 67, the water temperature is right at 70.9, so let's round that off to 71 degrees. That's at the city pier, 71 degrees at the Panama City Beach Pier. Looking at our river readings brought to us by Mountain Dew. Take it outside, Mountain Dew. So looking at a really good situation on the Choctawhatchee River, but Apalachicola River is still high. We're at 14.4 on the Apalachicola River reading at Bluntstown. That is still high. Like I said, the Choctawhatchee, those in pretty decent shape. It's at a 6.8. It's got a little bit of drop to it. It's going to be a really good weekend to fish that Choctawhatchee River and all little inlets and creeks and sloughs are coming off of that. It's going to be a pretty weekend there. Our tide chart brought to us by Kent Forest Lawn. Today is, of course, Thursday, April 18th, and no tides. There's neap tides today and tomorrow. Got a little bit of tide coming in on Saturday, so there's going to be a little bit of movement there. And the wind, though, that wind is still blowing. Today's going to be south-southeast at 16. Folks, it's been a very windy April, and I think you can attest to that. But it's really been strong, and especially when these storms come through and bring in that storm we had this past weekend really brought in some high water in a lot of places, including my place. All right, let's take a break. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back, folks. Sitting here looking at pictures, trying to get them sorted out. Sometimes they sort of get all jumbled up, and I copy them from one place and then copy from another place. So sometimes there's a little bit of hesitation in between pictures and all. It's because they're just coming from all over. But I appreciate you sending them to me, and also we'll get some of them off my Facebook page. It's been interesting. So let's don't forget about certainly Saturday morning. We'll talk about we want to talk about this a second. The blessing of the fleet and sock burning. It's got 10 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and we're going to start frying fish up now around 11 o'clock Saturday morning. So keep that in mind. Okay, now I will go back to, we got all kind of things going on. I want to show you, let's get, also while we're talking about old things going on, this weekend, if you can't make it to Panama City, the Apalachicola Antique and Classic Boat and Car Show. And that'll be from 10 to 4. And I've been to that several times, especially looking at old boats and all, back when we had old Cartercraft boats. And that'll be this weekend, all right? And let's flash forward to, if you don't want an old boat, how about a new boat? I don't usually put this on, but Panhandle Educator, that's a 2.8% on a boat loan, and they're one of our sponsors. And I was telling Jeff, I need to refinance some of my stuff and get some of that 2.8%. That's a good deal there. Okay, we've got let's get a fishing report. Larry Brown over here fishing east of Hogtown. I'm going to read it to you, but I'm going to show you the fish we're talking about. Here's the fish we're talking about right here. And I'm just going to read you his fishing report, and we're going to do some, a lot of times I like to sort of mix it up like this. Went with Eric Akins. That's, early Friday morning we got this fat 19.5-inch trout. We caught big brim in the river for a while in the morning. Mid-morning, but at 11:30 they turned off. Now, if you fish before any kind of freshwater, saltwater, you know exactly what we're talking about. Sometimes they just turn it off. I don't know what causes it. If anybody could figure that out, you'd be a millionaire trying to tell people how it happens. But in late afternoon, we both lost or damaged tackle on overslot reds in the bay. Water temperature was 72.6 in the river and 75 on the flats. This is interesting now. After the big rain Sunday morning, the water came up almost 2 feet and went back down within less than 24 hours. It'd be interesting to see what it does to the fishing in the river. That's the thing about a place that's not controlled by a dam, where the flow of water comes in all of a sudden, come in real quick. That's how you get flash floods. And it just comes up, then it goes back down in a short period of time. Okay. Now let's look at a couple more pictures. This is Robin Holland. Robin's a good fisher lady. She says Taco Tuesday fishing with J.D. Prine, and a nice triggerfish there. She catches a lot of fish, and we'll come back and read this later. Now this is interesting. Michelle Waldrop, remember I had her on the show last week teaching the little kids how to swim and all? She sent me a text. Thanks for having me in your show. You made it so easy for me to talk about. And I've had 3 families sign up for the ISR since then. Thanks for helping me spread the word. Now that's just good news. That's a win-win for everybody, and I'm tickled those 3 families got to do some stuff with her. So that's interesting. Okay, we'll talk about it. We got a shark loose something. We got a great white shark not too far offshore. In fact, it's real close to San Blas, so y'all don't be going out too far. Well, let's go and show it to you. This particular shark, this is called Miss Costa, okay? And this is close now. April 15th. Look at there. It's 60 miles south of Panama City. 60 miles south of Panama City. There it is, right there. A great white shark. They tagged it. You know, that's one that does the ping and all. That's an ocean search I show you about every now and then. And a couple of days ago, it was 60 miles south of Panama City, and what's next to that? Cape San Blas. So I guarantee you, he's at it pretty close. All right, let's move on. Now, one of the things I wanted to mention too. We just touch on a regular basis. I still feel like it's a very, very strong, pertinent point that we need to bring up. The storm stories and all about, when I have guests, they tell storm stories and everything. But, you know, we're still affected, and we'll be affected for a long time. And a lot of folks have forgotten about us. Our politicians, our local politicians are working their butts off trying to get us. But our national politicians, the state politicians, those others, well, you know the story. They just flat out don't care, I don't think. If they cared, they would have already done something. You can see all kinds of statistics to prove it. But just here locally, I just want to touch base on a couple of things. I saw where at Mexico Beach, where, you know, that road was sort of been repaired. The shoulders of the road, you know, where it drops off, a lot of that been washed out, but they put a lot of dirt back in there. They're asking people now, please do not park on the beach side of Highway 98 because it's still soft. So if you're going to go surf fishing down in Mexico Beach anytime soon, park on the north side of the road, not on the beach side, and just walk across the street right there. And I understand what they're talking about. It's real soft, and they're trying to get it stabilized and all. That's one thing right there. Also, in our timber industry, we haven't talked a lot about our timber industry. I have some friends I know well. There are several different families and all. I know that they're in the timber business. They just lost everything. And you know, they couldn't have insurance on pine trees and all, and our hearts go out to them. And I know they're trying to salvage a little bit, but our timber business in the Florida Panhandle was just really, really hammered, and they just haven't got much help either. So and also our hospitals are hurting. I know they don't like to talk about it. Hospitals, that's the heart of a community as far as care. And I know I had a friend that was needed to be admitted to hospital. And they only had 60 beds in one of them. 60 beds in a city like this, and they have to send a lot of people out of town now. This is just a real dire emergency. So our hospitals are hurting. Our nurses have been fired. We've got nurses coming in from all over the place. So all these things are affecting us. And one thing I wrote down this: there should be no unemployment in the Florida Panhandle or even in South Alabama. There are so many people looking for people to help them work, and they're paying good money. There should be no unemployment checks passed out. Now, disability, yes, of course, but unemployment checks, there should be none of them in the Florida Panhandle. There are people, about every 2 blocks you see, help wanted, help wanted. So I want to urge everybody to take advantage of that if you can. All right, I just wanted to get share those things with you. Let's take a break and we'll be right back. Okay, the other day we were talking about the scallops and the scallop festival and all, and I didn't give the date. I gave the date on St. Andrew Bay, but I found a poster on the one in St. Joe Bay, and it's right here going to be August the 3rd. Okay, that's that rodeo, the scallop rodeo in St. Joe Bay is August the 3rd, and here in St. Andrew Bay is July the 20th. Those are 2 special dates. Okay, yesterday I had a real neat thing happen yesterday. We had gone. We're taking the family out to eat up at Simply Seafood. We had a late lunch and all, and I saw some folks up there and had some great food and great companionship. It was Chip and Jill and the girls and Gail and I, and we were leaving, and this guy sort of followed me out. He's a friendly guy. He said, "Coach, I just wanted to shake hands with you and tell you how much I enjoyed the show." Minnesota Rick. I stood there and talked to Minnesota Rick, and he comes out here in the wintertime, and he works. He's one of these working guys now. He works hard, and he goes back up to Minnesota in the summertime. And but I appreciate it. He said, "Watch the show every morning." And so Minnesota Rick wants to say a special good morning to you, and thank you for speaking to me. And we had a good talk and good to meet you. And speaking of emails, I like to keep up with emails. I like to share some of them with you. And this is a rather lengthy one, but I'm gonna go ahead and read it because I think it's entertaining. I appreciate it. This is coming from Mariana. This is Brett Donner. Hey, Winston, I moved here to the Panhandle a little over a year ago, retired. I'm an avid outdoorsman. Mike Grazioso from Chillin' Charters introduced me to your program. I've either watched or recorded every episode since Mike introduced me to the program. I enjoy the show. However, I must say I really enjoy your North Florida semi-Cajun accent. Jeff, did I have that? Yeah. I thought I talked normal, but I appreciate that. I consider that a compliment. He said, quite pleasing to the ear. I would like to purchase a couple of Panhandle Outdoor shirts. I would like to teach. It goes on about the sizes, and please enter my name in the drawing, which I did. And so someone other than Mike Grazioso from Compass Lake needs to win once in a while. He's a very dear friend of mine. If you should read this email on the air, please mention that Mike's nickname is Turtle. I don't know how he got that name. And that his fan club, his fishing buddies are Greg Frady, Rich Frady, and I. All four of us are huge fans of your show. No pun intended. Hope to see you in the great Panhandle Outdoors. Brett Donner from Marble Drive up there in Mariana. Thank you so much for that email, and I appreciate that compliment. I got all kinds of stories about how people think I talk, and but one of my favorites when I was a freshman at the University of Florida, I was a little boy from, well, I was a pretty good sized boy from Quincy, a little town, and all my classmates were from Miami and Tampa and places like that, and Winter Haven, and I had a speech class, a public speaking class, which I really thoroughly loved. But we first had to get up there and introduce ourselves, and I was about the fifth or sixth one getting up there, and all these people talking about, real fast and all. I get up there and started talking. I just told them about myself, which wasn't hard for me to do. And when I sat down, you could hear a pin drop. And I never will forget that professor, because I was sort of a little embarrassed. But that professor, he just took charge. He said, Mr. Chester just presented us with an authentic lesson in the speaking. He said, now I could tell right away he was from Northwest Florida or either South Alabama or South Georgia about the way each one of our dialects dictates where we're from. He said, it's just refreshing to hear that. So it made me feel so good, and everybody else sort of looked at me like, but I realized then I spoke a little bit different at the time. I'm a lot better now, but that is interesting to me. All right, I wanted to touch base, speaking of heritage and all, there was a story in the paper about the Destin Fishing Museum had this 100,000th customer, and I've been over there several times. If you haven't been, it's a fishing and history museum over there, and I've got some pictures and all. I just want to show you some pictures of it because I cannot understand for the life of me why we don't have one here in Panhandle, here in St. Andrew, or down to Panama City Marina when they're redoing that. Why don't we have a little history museum? Okay, here it is, Destin History and Fishing Museum. And I'm just going to run through some pictures pretty fast. It's a really neat setup right there in Destin. These are just old black and white pictures. And the thing about it, I love the Destin area, but we had 5 times the amount of fishermen they had, probably more than that. And if anybody knows, I know. Believe me, I did some research on Destin too. The Marla family and the Destin family were the main 2 families. And you can see some neat stuff in the mountains. We can do all this stuff. Of course, the red snapper and grouper, same thing. A lot of theirs were net fishermen, and then they started doing some party boat fishermen. But they were able to save some of this nautical stuff. But here's the news: 100,000 visitor to the Destin History Museum. The guy was from Illinois. Here's a picture of him. They gave him all kind of prizes and all. But I thought, what a neat thing to do, and how sad it is that we don't have our fishing heritage here. We have so much more and such rich history that we've been able to save. So I would wish all this oil spill money and all this money that there's no reason we couldn't build a small museum here in the St. Andrew area. Not build one, actually take over some. I know one time, Grover Davis was so excited about doing it, and he was going to donate some of his area to do it in. But we just got to get somebody after that. So anyway, hopefully our politicians all can get into that and send some of that money to have panhandle fishing and all. All right, let's get ready for our drawing, okay? We're going to do something different today. We're going to do our famous Friday fishing report today because tomorrow I've got Travis coming on with FWC. All right, And we're getting a lot of people entering now. Let's go and do Tarpon Dock now, and then we'll do the grand prize of the day after that. Okay, this is for Tarpon Dock Seafood, $20. Martha Bostrick from Lynn Haven, they're in Missouri right now, so they might not get that. Yeah, it is. You know what? It is. What my mind is doing the Friday show. We may draw. Well, we're going to go and do it. And Chris Carter in Panama City. Jeff reminded me today is Thursday, but I'm thinking tomorrow. But we're still going to do a giveaway today and tomorrow. In fact, I'll tell you what we might do. Let's go ahead. Let's go and give this away though. All right, Jeff's A Walk Through Nature. Great video here. Pre-Michael. That's going to be a collector's item. Panhandle Outdoors, the yellow shirt on this one, and then of course the visor. Let's see, and of course the two pair of pliers, the koozie, and yesterday we gave away the fly fishing outfit. Today will be a lightweight spinning reel and rod. And these are real good quality and all. Okay, strand line, everything. So the winner is going to be. This outfit right here is going to be Lexi Melvin. Okay, let me write that down. Lexi Melvin. So we're going to give one away tomorrow for the final one. Everybody's been picking them up and all. So what we're going to do, we're going to do our Famous Friday Fishing Report on Thursday, on Terrific Thursday. Okay, so let's take a break and we'll be right back. Okay, welcome back to the Famous Friday Fishing Report, being done a special edition on Thursday. You know how we say we like to keep y'all guessing is what we're going to do. We don't get in pattern. Our old buck gets in pattern. That's how he ends up on the wall. So we're going to try to, plus we've got Travis coming in tomorrow, and he has a busy schedule, so we'll try to fit him in when we can. I do want to mention now, speaking of fishing and taking boats out, we had a couple of guys out this past week in that over in off of Destin area, and they had a center console boat, and somehow they lost control of the boat. I feel like what happened, I remember how strong that storm was came through. Anyway, one of those guys lost his life. I think he's 26 years old, lost his life in a boating accident. And we hadn't talked much about it this week, but still under investigation. But when that storm comes through, and of course they warned us about 3 or 4 days ahead of time, just be aware of those things. So, and it affects everything, especially the boating area. Let's start with Lake Wimico. But before we get to Lake Wimico, let's go ahead, and I want to mention a pier first, okay? The pier fishing, the water clarity, when that storm came through, it really messed up the water clarity. And actually, before the storm, Sunday morning before the storm, they were catching Spanish right and left, okay? The storm came through, and right after the storm, they brought aboard the biggest king mackerel they've caught all year off the pier. Is a 30-pound king. Now, folks, a 30-pound king coming off the pier is a big king mackerel. But anyway, they shut down. After that, they just shut down because of the water clarity. What happened? You get that mud and all stirred up. It's close to shore, and then it gradually clears on up. So always check your water clarity in the bay systems, and of course fresh water and all. And I want to go to Lake Wimico first, because we don't talk a lot about Lake Wimico. A lot of people are fishing Lake Wimico now. And of course, a lot of people put in here White City. Okay, here's Port St. Joe right here, and goes north of 71. That'll take you on to Weewall and Bluntstown. But the boat ramp, we've talked about it before, but the nice boat ramp is in good shape right there. And I can zoom into it. Okay, there's a boat ramp right here. And it's in good shape, and a lot of folks you can go one or two ways. Now, I fish both ways, and we're going down to Wimico. Wimico fishing has been really good. Now again, if it gets windy, you're in a small boat, you're in a good situation to get in trouble. But off these little sloughs and all, and of course one of the favorite spots is Depot Creek, which is, you see Depot Creek right in here. And you put in here, Depot Creek is good fishing this time of year. But Lake Wimico, and then you have Saws Creek coming in down in here. But this whole river system, Saws Creek and all coming into here. You got all these feeder creeks. This is a great area. The Apalachicola comes down in here. You got these creeks feeding. It's just a great area to fish. I want to give a shout out to that. Now let's go quickly back over to You got the report earlier from Larry Brown, and you understand what's going on over in Choctahatchee. Early fishing is good. Okay, St. Andrew Bay system. Again, if you're going to fish this weekend, again, I would say East Bay. I remember I said that last week. East Bay was going to be really good. Billy Grantham came down from Sneed's and limited out on trout and redfish. I would again recommend East Bay as far as trout and redfish, because it should be excellent fishing. The Spanish mackerel is still in the bay. They're sort of moving on, but if you're going to catch Spanish, I'd fish right out here. The jet is going to be good. I do want to recommend, let's run on there real quick. And I don't talk about this a lot lately, but I used to talk about it a lot. The East Point Bridge, okay? The East Point Bridge, this is a fishing bridge right here. Should be a good weekend. The East Point Bridge, you should be catching, I've even heard of some triple tail being brought in. Triple tail fishing is good all throughout our Apalachicola Bay system. Pretty well kept secret. But triple tail, of course, sheep's head is going to be in good shape right there. And that's going to be an easy place to get to, all right? And then, of course, St. George Island, down at the state park. Ned Maxwell and some of those folks have been going down there. There's been some good fishing down that way. So the surf fishing will be good. Carabel, I haven't gotten a report from Carabel this week, but I guarantee you they're catching some good fish down there. Best bet again for Panhandle would be on the west end. I know it goes back and forth. The west end of the beach on around the seaside area should be really good on Panhandle fishing from the surf and whiting, and also they're catching some redfish in the surf. Okay, so just get out there, use sand fleas, or of course you know what, a lot of those fish bites, and they should be doing well in there. So anyway, the fishing should be good. St. Joe State Park is still not open, but you can still, there's some public access off the Cape. Several places public access here. You can fish down in there. All right, we got to wrap things up. We've had a good day today. Tomorrow, got a special guest coming on. Y'all do something good today for your fellow man. Have a great day, and God bless.
Thanks for watching America's only daily outdoor TV show, Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester, featuring hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.